But from the people doing the data stuff, all of us on the top 10 have probably reached out to someone that does the data stuff. It seems that churn is a function of activity in the group and engagement more than anything else, right?
Churn's interesting. It's like, well, first of all, it does seem to get better the longer you do it, because naturally the people churn out early, and people are more likely to churn early than later. So once you've kind of churned those out, your churn's naturally kind of going down, right? Launches are generally not the best for like churn either, because if you have a big spike in new members, often that results in a big spike in churn, but it kind of evens out. Price definitely impacts churn. Generally speaking, the lower the price, the lower the churn, right? But there is like a sweet spot where you can still have like low churn and a decent price. Like your churn's 2%. What's your price point?
39 at the moment.
39. Yeah, that's probably where the sweet spot is. We've seen like up to $50. You can have super low churn, but still a decent price. But that doesn't mean you should make your price lower, because you could still make more money with higher churn, right?
Yeah. If someone pays you $1 million and then churns next month, you still probably made more money than your $50 per month person with 2%.
But a big one is annual. I swear, like I'm thinking of adding a metric that shows you the ratio of monthly to annual that you have in your MRR. So like, is it 80-20? Is it 50-50? Is it what? Because I swear that impacts your churn. Because the more people you have on annual, the lower your churn will be. Because, yeah, people tend to churn lower on annual. So offering annual, and do you guys offer annual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have that many. You don't have that many, but we do.
What's the discount for annual?
It's like 50%.
50%, 97 and 597. 97 a month or 597.
Oh, so 1,200 versus 600? Wow.
So that's a huge discount. Yeah. I mean, shit.
Well, people have doubt. They don't believe in certain things, but.
Are there any other bonuses that you unlock only in the annual?
Not really. I pretty much, what I did really to get a lot of people to join, I raised my price to $97, and I added something that was really, really valuable that I charged $1,500 for, and added it when you join, you get it for free. So the idea is basically to get people to join and to get people to stay over time.
Yeah.
Like keep coming up with new things, new ways to get them to stay. But yeah, it's going good so far. The churn is coming down, so we'll see how it goes.
The other thing I'll say is like, so I've looked at it, like the early indicator for churn seems to be user retention. And it has nothing to do with subscription. It's how, like, if people buy on day 0, how many come back on day 1? How many people come back on day 7? How many people come back on day 30, right? And that's the best early indicator I've seen for retention or churn.
I haven't heard this. Is new?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I was looking for a metric that I could use for both free and paid groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that I call it the wholesomeness score. Something that surfaces wholesomeness. And generally, if you think about something that people value, they tend to come back, right? That makes sense. But also, I looked at the groups that have really high retention. They have really low churn. I might be confusing you by saying retention and churn, but
user retention, like user engagement retention.
Users coming back. You could, in theory, have like perfect churn, but no one comes back. I don't know what that group would be about, but that's possible. But yeah, those things, those are the main things I've seen. The other one is like overwhelm. That's definitely a big cause of churn. I think what happens if people join something and they feel like they can't keep up, then they're like, well, I'm paying for it and I can't use it.
If you're adding those things in, I would consider adding them as like month 3, month 4, month 5, because everyone who's brand new can still join for that first thing because it's still new to them, right? Because if you come in and there's 5 things, it's like, fuck, it's a lot, right? To his point, versus like you come in and the one thing that got them to join, great. Well, next month you unlock this, and the next month you unlock this. And that way, the people who already are in your community right now, if you make the thing at a 2-month unlock, then everyone's automatic who's been with you for 2 months will get access to it, just not the new people. And that also make them feel a little bit special, a little bit more, hey, to all my OGs, I'm dropping this. Everybody who's brand new, just keep doing the first thing, right? Kind of like.
That's short. So when members first join, what I do, I create a game plan for every member. We look at their credit file and basically see what they need to do with their credit to get to whatever they're trying to get to.
You do that 1-on-1?
No, so I have a generator. My guy created for me.
Yeah, they get a PDF printout, and it's like
every step. First down,
or
we got
it's like a
football.
90-day.
We got it like football. First down, second down, third down, touchdown.
Okay.
So everybody touchdown, everybody won 100K in funding. So first down, they have to do something. Second down, do something else. Third down, then fourth down, they score a touchdown. Then I have team huddles. I have 4 team huddles: team diamond, spades, hearts, and clubs.
Like pods in the group.
Right. So every team, every member have to join a team, and the team coaches help them score a touchdown. So they go over, they discuss game plans, the questions, engagement, accountability, everything like that.
So everybody's got to join a team when they come in. So it's like, what team are you going to, they just join whatever one they want, right? Okay. Okay.
Usually the sales rep, all the reps are members of the community that have gotten results. And they'll say, hey, I'm a part of Team Diamonds. I'll help you with that thing you just told me about. Join my team. And I'll walk you through it.
And my boy Kevin Warren created a metaverse that when they do join, they could walk to their team huddles in the metaverse. So that was pretty dope as well, for sure.
T-Chop, do you make the plans, like, are they unique for each individual?
A lot of time people join, they basically have to do the same thing, but it'd be certain little things that's different. But we really analyze their credit to see exactly what they need. But 9 times out of 10, like 90% of the members, their credit look the same, so they have to do the same thing.
Are you customizing that when they join then? So one of your guys customizes that.
So it's a fill out form, right? They fill out a form and then it generates the PDF and it fills in.
Okay, so based on their answers, it generates their.
Right, but there's a step in the middle.
Credit.
Yeah, based on their answers.
I think it's super clever.
The specialist will look at their answers, which are like 3 answers, and the specialist will say, okay, I recommend this, this, and this. Now, to be clear, it's
Also
designed. And they also look at the credit, right? But the process is really designed to hit the little upsells and other price bumps that are needed for them to actually be successful.
So there's not too many variations.
Not at all.
Well, we are coming out with a advanced game plan. It's probably in November, sometime December maybe. But for
For
right
the
now,
5K?
everybody got a game plan.
For a 5K upsell, I'm guessing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What percentage of your new members do this game plan? And is it like your very first CTA when they join the group?
A lot of my old members don't know a game plan exists, right? So right now, I probably got to do like a blast DM with their school to let people know, reach out to them, be like, hey, don't forget to get your game plan. That will really reduce the retention, however you said, and get people to follow their game plan, join the team huddles, and stay on board. Because I just released the game plan like 30 days ago, but I had members since February when I first started the school. So yeah, that's the thing. So I have to say maybe 50%, but the goal is to get at least over 80, 90%.
That's interesting, because I'm sort of wondering now, actually, I'm hearing this, like, because one of our first steps is do an intro post, because we get so many people like comment on that, and they feel this really great sense of like being welcome. So we're trying to do like 1 action, 1 touch point, and where we introduce that. And actually, I guess there's a question about how often should you be mass TMing everybody in the group, because that's probably like, you know, does it function as a kind of quasi mailing list in some respects? Like, should you actually, like, every week, should there be a new message? Like,
Every week, for sure.
I would, for sure. I mean,
But to be clear, we're touching them a lot. Like, a lot. They're not technically. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, pause, right? They don't. They're like, oh, this. I didn't get the DM, and so we're like, we're hitting them. We're texting and calling and making sure that we make the connection.
and you're also emailing them as well at the same time.
They get emails every day, telling them to rejoin the group because we haven't segmented there.
So your traffic is coming from where?
Instagram.
Okay, so your Instagram, and then you go ManyChat funnel, or do you?
It's most definitely good ManyChat.
Okay, so ManyChat funnel, free thing that gets them to engage, and then you work them to send them to the group.
No freebie. They know the price up front, and they're told to go get this special thing.
Okay.
We're not selling the group. We're selling the free service they get when they join the group.
Yeah, sure. And are you going call to group or group like straight to about page?
So every page of the funnel, every step of the funnel at the very bottom says, just join the group now.
Uh-huh.
But on the first page is an opt-in, and it's like, hey, join the wait list.
Uh-huh.
And then the next page is skip the line for $1.
We got a thing going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique.
It's super unique, but the conversion rate is 50% on the opt-in and 60% for people paying the $1. And everyone who pays the $1 is angry that we haven't called them yet.
Yeah, angry, yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Am I getting this?
Yeah.
And then we text them saying, you got to join the group first, or a sales rep will say, hey, do you have questions? You got to be in the community to get the thing.
So IG, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they,
DM.
okay, so
DM
ManyChat, right?
Yeah. And we're experimenting today with removing the ManyChat thing
Okay.
to just send them to the page, the opt-in.
Okay, so ManyChat, and then in ManyChat you send them the link,
Correct.
right, to the funnel. So you've got opt-in
Yep.
on funnel, okay? And then thank you page
Yep.
is skip. So wait, opt-in is opt-in for the wait list?
Yeah, that's just an opt-in, right?
But it says wait list here
It says waitlist.
on this one, okay.
Yep. And it says this Friday, and the date is this date, and the timer's counting down.
Whatever day it is the day that it,
No, it's actually Friday.
Okay.
Because we actually changed the price.
okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, and so skip the line for $1,
For $1, right?
okay?
So 60%. So 60%. If 100 people opt in, 60% will pay $1.
So 100 clicks, 50 opt in. Of the 50 that opt in, 60% of those, so 30.
Yep.
Okay. So 30 people pay $1. Got it.
And then the final page,
Which is
a-
absurd, by the way.
It
If you had a
is.
30%, like if you just had a 30% conversion on a landing page for $1, it's still insane.
The reps, my biggest thing is getting we can't call, we're only focused on calling the $1 people. We can't even get to call the waitlist people because it's, yeah.
Well, they're on the wait list. You know, they're waiting.
they're waiting. Right? Yeah.
And they could skip if they just paid $1. Yeah.
They can skip the whole thing if they just join the group now and follow the instructions in post.
Okay, and
yeah.
so after the skip this, it just says join.
No, we have another one that say bypass the line, like just
So-
go straight in.
Just go straight in.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, hold on.
So
skip the wait list for $1.
Yeah.
And then skip the skipping.
Yeah. The button that's on all the pages in the footer that says just join the group is
Yeah.
emphasized on the last thank you page saying, look, just join the group. Here's a screen recording of how you do it.
And join for whatever. It's what's the price point?
97.
97. Okay. Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah.
What's the conversion here?
1 out of 4.
1 out of 4 of these people.
So the people who make it through, if 4 people paid $1 and the rep calls all 4, one to 2 of them already joined the group.
Oh, interesting.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
So of the 30, so we had 100 clicks, 50 opt-in, 30 pay the $1.
Mm-hmm.
8 of them have already joined
Mm-hmm.
of the dollars. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Which should be 25%.
You said 8 of the 20. I think it's more like 40%.
It's honestly higher because the reps,
Cool.
the reps are on 2 to 3 minute, 4 minute phone calls. Like we expect them in an hour to close one every 15 minutes. Like if
Sure.
you're lazy, like these are enrollment calls. We get all that sales training out your head. You don't need to pain and all that
Yeah.
goals.
Already
Just
sold.
enroll them. Like keep the scarcity urgency high and enroll them
Yeah.
right away. So the reps, what we had to do was verify their deals because they're calling people who already were
Sure.
about to join and stuff. So it's a really smooth sales process.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard of this. This is new. Cool. Very cool. There's a gym that does the same thing with the wait list. You join the wait list and they call you 2 days later and it's $1,000 a month, like super exclusive gym. And you know what? One person just canceled and we keep it capped.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hey, it
will
worked.
say this: if I was like selling the services myself, I would close 100%.
When we assign the leads, with the expectation is you close all the leads I sent you. Either you didn't connect the call or you should not close the sale. Yeah, and you should get a referral. A family member, that's another thing to emphasize. They should be bringing a referral every single time.
Our referrals.
A lot of referrals. Yeah.
What is your churn rate, guys?
Like 33%. I'm trying to get it like 120.
Yeah, because you're like, hey, if you can get $100,000, wouldn't you want to get $100,000 on somebody else's credit? You get $200,000. Sweet.
I want to say something about the churn.
Okay.
It's okay. My English is a little bit
You're good.
short, but I will try my best. I like the shortcut with everything now. I love it. And what I do in my community where I have very low, short, like 10 in the whole Lightbulb community, is that I identify what they want from me, you know? And I give it that every month. For example, they want to buy houses in auction, and I give them a clear list of clear houses that you can buy, only seeing the houses, so they don't have to do the homework. And I give them that every month, and they don't leave the community. That's my easy way to have what I want, keep it, you know? By the way, I give content, and I do a call every Tuesday, and I have another call with the pro every Monday. But what I think keep my community, everybody in my community, is the list, you know, and I try to get.
So you send them a list of deals.
The list of deal no, it's, for example, if in Lucerne County there is an auction, I grab the list, and the people that work with me do the whole homework.
Yeah, so your team does the homework, right?
Yes,
and then
yeah.
you say, these are all good deals.
This is all the good deals,
Sure.
and you just have to go in person and see the houses.
Yeah.
And that's the way I keep it, you know.
Yeah. So it's interesting you bring that up. So one of the things that I think made Gym Launch, or makes Gym Launch such a successful business that is in the media space, is basically what you kind of teased at, which is having some sort of consumable media. And so what I mean by that is, because we serviced all one type of business, we could spend whatever 50 grand testing ads across 10 or 20 representative markets of gyms, and then take the winners of those ads that we had made and then just hand them to the 1,000 gyms that were paying us. But it costs us nothing extra. But every month they have to use up those ads, because then they fatigue, and then they have to have new ads for their local market. And so like, if you can find, like, the same thing, like deals change. So if you can find something that's kind of consumable, something that, like, because fundamentally, like, this is where education versus, like, if someone learns how to do math, the day before they learn how to do math, it's incredibly valuable. And the day afterwards, it means nothing to them, right? And so it's like, are there components of your offer that you can emphasize that are valuable every month? So it's like, it's the same concept, it's deals, it's ads that we'd make, but because they needed them again, they like, you need to refresh them. So if you can find something that you can kind of refresh in terms of your product, it will make it significantly stickier. And I mean, for us, when we surveyed our community, like, the number one thing, bar none, was just more ads that always work. That was it. Because for a gym owner, for example, and probably for somebody looking for real estate, the amount of work it takes to test ads, it will make ads, script ads, test ads, and then lose the money on ads that don't work, compared to just taking lottery tickets that have already been, they're just scratch off winners. It's like, dude, just cash them in. They're like, these ads already work. Same thing. It's like, dude, these deals are already good. Just cash them in. Like, just go see the property. Like, you take 90% of the work out of it. And so it makes sense that that's a very valuable thing for the community.
Yeah.
Before it's very lazy.
How did you quantify that value?
Huh?
How did you quantify the value? Did you always give like a case study of, hey, this is the ad we ran and this is what happened with it?
Oh, no. I mean, so ours were all business owners, to be clear. And so they all had gyms and employees. So it's a little probably higher level avatar in terms of who we're talking about. And so they already, so like, if you think about it like this, they bought, what they paid a lot of money for up front was learning the system. And so it's like, my system made significantly more money for gyms. And so then that's the machine. But you have to feed the machine. And the thing you feed the machine changes every month. So it's like, you pay one time for a really expensive thing, which is the model, and you learn it. You learn the sales scripts, you learn the offers, you learn how it all works. But then every month, the thing that you need ads to feed it. And so they knew what an ad that one was worth, because if they were going to get leads for $10, they know that they can, on average, make $100 a lead. And so they're getting 10 to 1 immediately.
So to be clear, your ads that you shared with people weren't always necessarily vetted. even though you're
No, they
certain
were vetted. I would spend 50 grand a month testing them, and I would tell them.
Okay.
And so it's like, hey, you pay me 4 grand. I spend 50. I hire models, which you're not going to hire. We script it. We record it. We test it. We spend 50 grand testing the ads in 10 to 20 representative locations. So we take some shitty markets, some Asian markets, white markets, Latino markets, Canada, Mexico. We test across, and we'd say, okay, this was the highest performing ad across all locations. This was second. This was third. By the way, in some of these markets, this one did better. And so then we just give them that, and then well, they'd get a drive, but yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that was it. And so like every month, it was like, sure, all this other stuff's great, Alex, but if you can just feed me the ads that I need to run that I know are already going to be winners. Because if you run a campaign on ads that don't work, it's like you just literally just flush money down the toilet. So not only did it save them money on ads that weren't going to work, it saved all the work of even making ads to begin with. But that only works when you have customers who have a very similar problem. So all of his customers, if you think about what his thing is, it's lead gen just for somebody who does deals, right? It's lead gen. I was doing lead gen for weight loss, but it was the thing that they always had to change every month.
Yeah, I think our way of keeping, because I think if they got a thing in the mail, like I was on Frank Kern's thing this one time, 400 a month, and he sent you stuff.
That was the best.
Yeah, and,
I love that thing.
You couldn't cancel because you'd missed the next thing in the mail. Yeah, so
I love physical.
Yeah, just to add on to that and to what Kevin has said about reducing churn, we offer our community niches every single day. So in print on demand, there's always niches every single day that come up. So that keeps them from canceling because they don't want to do the homework. They don't have time.
Sure.
They want to get in, find the niche, make a design for it, and upload. So that really reduces the time from their part. So they just get it done and ready. But at the same time, when they upload and they get sales, we encourage them to post it in the win section. And everybody goes to the win section and they get really hyped up. Oh my God, Adnan has just shared this niche and I got sales from it, and then just everybody goes crazy. So I think it really validates the whole thing that this thing actually works. And new people that come in, they go, oh my God, yeah, this really works. So I better stay and learn how this really works properly. And we play on the motivation every single day. We give them motivational posts. We do podcasts with the people that make a lot of money from the community. So to get other people hyped up and provide them with a good role model to follow, that kind of thing. So we try and play on that every single day. Like, we don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
I think that's what helps.
How many calls do you do a week in your group?
Every day there's a call.
Interesting. Yeah, I have noticed that one of the things that groups that have high member retention is they have quite a lot on the calendar. And so like if you have stuff on the calendar, generally people keep coming back. And then if they keep coming back, they tend to churn less. So like, but that's not guaranteed. It's it's something I noticed. Yeah.
But I do think there's something interesting with that kind of common theme of, is there some sort of work, is there anything that's dynamic about whatever you do, like whatever it is that you teach? Is there something that changes? So it's like, there are new problems that come out every X period of time? And like you're doing homework for them and then just giving them the output. So it's like the easy button. It's like, I did all this homework on the niches that are emerging right now. Here it is. You're doing all the homework on, you scraped all the lead sources and you're like, here are the deals, just go look at them. Obviously we did the ads thing. Like if you can find that thing, I'm really
that changes all the time that is specific to them.
Yeah.
So for example, we also do 24-hour support. I've got a team that works 24 hours. I've got someone that like literally stays up the whole night and just answers questions. So that really keeps that touch.
You find another time zone person.
No, actually, he's like a bat. He loves to work at night. So I was like, perfect, great.
Yeah.
So and also things like encouraging them to motivate each other, like the whole community to motivate each other. We created a culture of sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So not only you're there to learn, but you're also to share and help other people to achieve their goals as well.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that impacts it the most is the culture. Like a feeling of belonging, like you've found your people, you're with your friends kind of thing.
We've literally got people saying, I've ditched TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. This community is literally my whole social media. They come in and comment every single day. We got someone called Lokman, yeah? Every single post, anybody posts, he's the first person to comment. I'm like, dude, you're working for me without working for me. So I said to him, look, you're going to join my team. And he's like, he's so over the moon. He said, I'll do it without you paying me any money. I'm like, no, I'm going to pay. You're doing a really incredible job.
Do you do giveaways?
Huh?
Giveaways.
No, not at the moment. We're keeping that curve just in case.
Yeah, giveaways just always crush. What were you saying, Kevin?
No, I say that simplifying the things, I believe my key is I try to find something that my student need to do, and I do it for them. You know what I'm saying? Something that I can be better than doing it, I give it to you already done, and that's the way I like to keep it.
It'd be worth brainstorming for your own businesses. Like, what is that dynamic thing that changes on a regular basis? Like, is it niches that are, like here's a list of e-commerce companies that want UGC stuff. Like, and you just send them that list every month or whatever. And that might be something that I'm just thinking out loud. And so like with AI, it's like, you probably have more than enough you could do for that. Like, if like, here's 10 more tools that are AI, but like, it'd probably be one step past that, I think, for you, because yours is like, you could make lists on lists, you know what I mean? So it's like, is there one more step of work that you could do after that would make it?
I'm thinking like case studies of how people have made money selling to agency this month. Like what are the tools or the services, what's the fun or surprise?
Like the playbook, like this is a playbook for this month.
Yeah, take all the wins from the group and then just share it for something.
Yeah, I dig that.
It's one little small question actually. I think we have avatars in different stages, people who are at the beginning of the journey wanting to climb the mountain through to like businesses that are very successful. So one of my wonders is, do we, I don't want to overcomplicate it, that's the thing. Do we kind of have two resources, or do we kind of just go with what we think would serve the majority of it?
And have like some sort of high ticket thing? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, because we have a couple of different avatars, and I think they get value from different. There's some stuff they all have in common, which maybe that's the answer. We lean into that, but we have, quite a variety of different people in their businesses.
What did you do to get your churn from 25 to 10 to 15? That's probably a good thing to talk about.
Yeah,
because it's a meaningful decrease.
No, it's huge.
Many small actions that have compounded over time.
No way.
Well, let's hear them. let's write them down.
There wasn't one thing? That's crazy. All right, let's start.
I think annual, to be fair, if there was one, annuals obviously helped.
Yeah.
We don't have
What's your discount for annual?
It's only 17% actually. But,
Yeah.
So it's just buy 10, get 2.
But we get exclusive content and
So you have a bonus with it too.
Yeah. And we'll add to that over time. The profile feature unlocks the biggest there. They love that.
Keytron, you should hear that one. Missed it. All right.
Onboarding is like just a hack.
Well, I think the annual thing is so simple, but like it would work for everyone. Is like 17%. That's 2 months off, right?
Yeah.
So if it's $99 a month, it's $999 a year, and some content bonuses. What are your bonuses for annual?
So we do specific content, so like a webinar on how I scale from X to Y in 2 different businesses, like a play-by-play, and then also like
Just one webinar or a consistent thing?
So I want to recycle it twice a month as our strategy. So I want to have lots of free additional content, but then I've done a specific training for everybody on, and we call it #TeamAnnual. So we make it kind of like a bit of a movement within the movement. To push.
Are we talking about a calendar event or classroom content?
It's a classroom. It's like something you can watch.
Okay.
It's something that you can watch.
And you're getting a lot of people take annual once they're already a monthly member.
Weirdly enough, we don't get many people signing up to annual at the front end, but it's like when we drive it and push it and say, hey, we've got this really cool resource that you unlock, and a cool profile for that, actually I think has driven most of our annual sites.
So people upgrade after the fact.
I get a lot of sign-ups on the onboard. So within the first week, if I get them a win on the call, a lot of people just go settings, change it. Cool, I've done it right now. So when they see the value after an hour on board, I get a lot of signups there.
And you're onboarding everyone the first week.
I do them daily. It's like I don't say you have to join, but I do an intro post. Join me on an onboard call. They usually turn up the next one. I do it every day, and then I try.
You
and
just
work
do
the
group.
Just group call. It's not not one-to-one. We've got about 2K people in the group, so
Okay, yeah.
maybe two on mine.
No, you're good.
What was this profile image? His community gets, well,
Yeah, so every level, from level 5 onwards, we unlock a specific avatar. So we've got Trailblazers like Red and Dragonfire, and then we've got AI Wizards. And so you kind of like have a symbolic, like, and it looks really cool actually. Like, and then we made one for annual as well, which looks really epic. So you can see who's got annual and stuff. But weirdly enough, it's like, that's kind of like a bit, they love it. And so, but most importantly, of course, you unlock the avatar.
The,
and then
the
they,
ball's deep in the group. And if you go on our leaderboard, every person has the profile picture. But lots of fire emojis, lots of the profile pictures. So they've
got a cool story
the ball
behind
goes
it.
deep.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
so couldn't someone like take the profile picture and just make it themselves?
But not really. I mean, like, if you knew how to like remove backgrounds from images and stuff, but it's all consistent. People actually use it on their Instagram profiles, their WhatsApp photos. They really like the images.
What's your group called?
So again,
Automations, AI automations by Jack.
yes. That's
Yeah,
right.
the other cool thing about his profiles is all of his members that are in other groups. So like one of his guys is in the 100, and I know that they're in his community because of that, because it's cross-platform.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you have those profile pictures you always know, which is interesting.
That's cool. I love that. So this was one big thing with many small pieces to it. What else was there?
Yes.
Well, we do daily calls as well. We have 2 calls a day, the onboards and support, and then we have like a big event on Friday, which is our Make Money Day.
Did you start doing that after the churn was high?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm saying this was, churn was at 28. You started doing 2 calls per day. Churn went down. Okay.
We are toying between simplification and like adding more value. So we definitely haven't hit the sweet spot. So I want to know what's the optimum number of calls, what's the optimum classroom look like. So it may not be optimum to a day. We might reduce it again, but
Yeah.
I think it's helped. Daily support at least.
I'll just say frequent.
Yes, it's not like a calendar. Yeah, you just drop in. And we have people turn up like 4 times sometimes, 4 or 5 times.
It's coming setting every onboarding call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think like the kind of dirty, unpleasant stuff that you probably wouldn't want to hear about is replying to people, messaging to them, celebrating success, taking interest in their lives, making them feel welcome.
All the important things.
Just all the boring 80%. Yeah.
Yeah, like outreach to cancellers and decliners. I do that like every day.
So outreach to cancellations.
And decliners.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also do personalized moves those as well.
Yeah, it's all of those more.
Did the outreach to cancellers work?
The decliners works really well, and to be fair, the cancellers, particularly because we were losing a lot of our higher level people, a couple of people, and there's not a single one that's lost. So I say, hey, well, we can't lose you, man, and they stay. Yeah. So that really
Dude,
works.
just keep paying. They're like, okay.
to be fair, that was probably a result that they were a bit lost, and then one outreach, and then they're back in. So they really work actually.
Do you know what's really funny as well? Once they do an intro post, they're really likely to stay for a while because you get this rush of everyone saying, no way, I live there, I'm doing a similar thing. So if we can get into intro post, they crush it. So the thing we noticed is that, actually, funny enough, Sam, your point, if they, because I did another group actually to see the experience is like, your interest I feel is highest when you join. If you don't get the group straight away, you go into this like cryogenesis and you never return. So we'll notice like some people, you can see their like activity scores, right? They're green on day 1 and then 37 days later they cancel. They never actually got into the system. And one of my takeaways from checking other groups, we need, this first step is so important. And we almost see, we're looking at churn now in terms of like, you've got the month 1, which is getting to month 2. And then we have this kind of 3 to 6 month period where it's a slightly different problem. And then I think we're looking at longer term after that.
So what are the components of your intro post?
We basically say, hey, introduce yourself, what you're about, what you want to get out of the group. And then everyone just floods in and it's really simple actually, to be fair.
But I comment on every single one, join me on a call. And they intend, maybe 50% do.
Yeah. So our sequence would be intro post, then it would be onboarding call as a step 1, step 2.
Do you encourage them to do their own post as a introduce yourself? Or like they're commenting on an introduce yourself thread?
They must do their own post.
I
have
see.
to. Yeah, because the problem with having it on a post is it just gets lost in the noise and it's just way too complicated. You have an own post for an own person, and they'll have like 20 people that celebrate them and like engage with them, and it's just real like energy boost. So it has to be that.
And you've found that people that do those stick.
Yeah, they stick. Yeah, they'll definitely make it a couple of months most of the time. Yeah, the specific data, but yeah.
I do that, and when I switched from the thread, so I had a thread with 3,000 comments, right? People might like it. When they started doing their own post, I do the thing, well, Haley does the thing where she comments on all of them for me and engages them that way, but then they make 10 friends every time. Because 10 people comment, and they'll say, I love surfing, I live in Virginia, whatever. And so then they immediately get that community.
Yeah.
And that's when I switched. I think I switched that at the last games probably. And when I switched that, game changer. I wouldn't. It
Did
definitely.
your churn go
correlated.
down?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you do to? Yeah, I was like, what did you do to reduce your churn?
Well, I want to keep drilling on this Jack stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
How many new members a day are doing this? Because I wonder at what point does the introduce yourself post for every new member kind of get overwhelming?
Yeah. So one of the things we were on this continuum of not all engagement is made equal. So I think we're top 30 in Discovery at the moment, and we kind of went a little bit too far over, and then we had to bring it back slightly. So we started locking it after like a certain period of time. But we turned that off after a while.
So we have suffered from engagement success at one point, so we did have to turn off comments. We do sometimes get the feedback that the feed is just full of intro posts, but I think the benefit outweighs the negatives. But if it got too much, we just turned them off after 7 days. Or
the thing
What do you
is,
mean
if
by
it's-
turn them off after 7 days?
you can turn off comments, so then they stop appearing in the main feed. So when people just have a quick scroll, it's more value than just intro posts.
We don't do that now, though. I think that's only a problem if there's not enough other substantive stuff happening in the group. If there's lots of value and automations and cool things happening, it probably forms like maybe 30% of the posts. Maybe less than 30%, but there's so much other stuff going on that when you read through the feed, it's like a pleasure. Well, in my opinion, it's a pleasure to read through, so it's not overwhelming, I think.
Got it. Yeah, I wonder if what percentage of your new members would you say actually do an introduce yourself post?
20-30%, something like that.
Maybe it's a higher, really, actually.
You would know, yeah, 40.
We're on, like, level 1, we're on, like, 35, 36%. So most people at least do something, engagement in the group. I mean, we need to get that way lower, but they at least do something.
Yeah, I wonder if we could nudge them. I've been thinking of doing some kind of onboarding feature.
That'd be good, because it's just on our calendar at the moment.
What do you mean it's on your calendar?
It's just an open call. If we could structure it a bit better.
He's saying like a structured onboarding, like complete these steps when you join, right?
Yeah.
Basically
be
start your
sweet.
module, but more required.
I'd be stoked for it.
Because
Get that one video that onboards them, like that everybody has to watch before they enter, and then like directions, like make your first post with a button or
Yeah,
something.
that would be genius, even if you cap the length at 30 seconds or something. Because weirdly enough, even I'll send by the way, guys, did you know you've got these 5 really epic things? And I have like 20, I had no idea we had this thing. We thought we made it so clear and obvious, but it's good we do these little refresher posts quite regularly, and people really, really value that stuff. So,
Well, on that point, I think we do have so much going on. The onboard's almost essential. Like every single person is like, your goal here, this is your resource. That's what the call for you is kind of essential. And I think if we didn't have that, our churn would be much higher.
I basically require it to move on. So I have 100% or like 90,
You require the post.
the post and onboard. There's a bypass for it, and also they have a group 10 times bigger. But
Jim launched his own school, and we convert 25% of people who join the community, and we have 100% of people get on onboarding calls. Obviously, we're niched, so that's a big difference. But we don't unlock anything until they hop on the onboarding call. So basically, you get zero value. Like you opt in for all of these things, and we're like, great. So in order to get those things, hop on the call, so we can make sure you go through the right stuff at the right time for your business. Because if you do all of it, you'll definitely fail. And so let's make sure that you just do the thing that matters to you right now. They hop on the call, they're like, oh, this is so much work. I was like, if you want, we can help you out. They're like, sure.
So you got them with a lead magnet that's for something, and you only unlock it once they hop on a call?
Yeah, everything's locked.
do a lot of people get pissed?
No.
Is it because of the way you frame it?
Yeah. I mean, this part of the experience of being in the community is like the first thing you do to get the stuff is this.
How'd you make the decision between having the setter do that onboarding versus having the onboarding specialist do the onboarding versus having the group onboarding? Like, how do you
I actually don't know the difference of what you were asking.
Well, at some point you would have like a group onboarding call. That's probably might be phase one.
Oh, like a group? You mean number of people group? That's what
Right.
I think like
on one onboarding.
Okay.
Versus the setter doing the onboarding, which is really to set the call for the upsell of the thing, versus just like a regular specialist.
I think you do both.
Uh,
But I think we're obviously very high ticket and niched, and so for us, one-on-one makes it makes no sense to not do one-on-one.
Can you tell me what you're doing in your onboarding call? Because that's something you do every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? How long is it?
So it's an hour every day, but if I'm honest, the Monday, Tuesday is always overrun because the first thing I do is say, I'm Adam, I'm on this journey with you, I'm an admin, you introduce yourself. I want to make sure every single person gets 5 minutes of that call. So if I have 10 people, it's a long call. So they tell me about their goals, their background, their business, what they want to do. So if they want to grow on LinkedIn, boom, these are the resources for you. If you haven't even built an automation, this is perfect. We have a Start Here module, 0 to Hero. So it really depends where they are in their journey. So I want to hear a little bit about them, where they're from, their hobbies and stuff, but mostly where are you in the business, in your automation journey, and then I can insert them at different points. But really, I think it's just they have their 5 minutes, and there's a group and a cohort. They've made some friends. And one little hack is that I unlock a time unlocked module. So I say, look, because you joined us, I'm going to give you a little sort of advance, and I'm unlock a few things in the call just as a gift. And then I also can upsell them as well. So I don't think it's an upsell. It's like, look, annual's here. If you can see the value at the end of the call, you can do annual, and we're also going to upsell them to the high ticket as well. But I do that after. I'm pretty confident they feel better after they've joined the onboard than when they started. So I like.
So
to pitch
people
it,
self-organize, like the calls on the calendar every day. But if people joined over the weekend or Monday morning, they're all going to jump on Monday's call.
Yeah.
But they just figure that out on their own.
Well, there's a bit of a sequence. Like I have a pin start here, do this start here section in the classroom. The final action there, join the onboard call. It's a link to the diary, just pops it up. So there's a sequence that gets them. They don't just have to fall on the calendar. There's like a pin post, a classroom module, start here, induction. They intro themselves. There's a few touch points that push them to the onboard.
Like an email as well. If I get an email, sort of sequenced emails that they.
It's still quite complicated, right?
It is. We want to get more people on the onboards. I think there's more.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think how I could make it better.
What do you do with your auto DM?
Yeah, exactly. That's like intro yourself and join an onboard. That's basically it. Yeah.
But I think the hack is whatever the action, once they get to the next step must be. It's like book a meeting, close meeting type of thing. The next step must be clear once they've done the first step. So once they've done that, it's done. Now you go and do X after that.
Does anyone show up to an onboarding call that's already onboarded?
Yes.
Is that annoying?
It's so annoying. But it's my fault. I mean, I must not.
They just were like, oh, like they just want to hang out, ask questions or something.
And they won't leave. Like I'll be like, hey, I'm not gonna talk to you. I'll literally say that. I'll be like, hey, we already talked. Like I'm gonna give these people the time, and they'll still stay every time.
Is your onboarding in the calendar? Is it public?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever experimented not like cluttering the calendar?
I have, and it didn't go well, but I think I could do it again better. The way I did it didn't make a lot of sense. So,
do you think does this happen to you too, AI Jack?
That's funny. Well, do you know what would be cool? Yeah, we do, but we love them. We love all the people, the familiar character, and they start selling, don't they? They start, this group's amazing, dude. You need to stay in this group. Like they start selling it for us, which is cool. I think if I could have anything on the platform, it would be mandated onboarding video with a little section that says like join your first onboarding call once they've done it. So they could it's almost like they've got the video, and then we could have a way to I don't know, maybe toggle something in the calendar that says this is an onboarding call, and then they can see that beneath it. Because I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe onboarding thing doesn't show on the calendar for everyone, but it's one of the requirements of completing onboarding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We sort of think churn is solved at the onboard. So
totally.
But that way you can see if the member's onboarded or not.
That would be
but
cool.
No one who's onboarded sees any calendar event for onboarding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because your calendar gets pretty beefed up from that, right?
It has been described as beefy.
Yeah, because you're like spamming everyone and cluttering everyone's experience for a minority of people. So
It's true, because it's the next call up onboarding, then it's tech support, so it's almost like they can't see sometimes the tech support coming after it.
But Adam, have you tried to, instead of linking to the school calendar, like linking to Calendly or something?
I have considered it. If it's not broke, don't fix it sort of thing. But yeah, I've considered doing a Calendly right now.
I'm pretty sure I know how to fix this. If this is a big, I'm just trying to think if it's worth it or not.
The way we do it is we do support every single day from 7:30 to say 8 or say 9, and we created the whole course with a link to the support link, so they know exactly where to go for the support link, and it's always static. So 7:30 on the calendar, they support, they click on it, and they just join the call, and that works for onboarding and also for supporting current members if they have any questions. So it feels like you're giving them time and helping them out with any question they have. So I think instead of getting lost within the community or trying to look for answers elsewhere, they have that support right there whenever they need it.
The on the churn thing, one point I'd also mentioned, we had this policy which was no question unanswered within 24 hours. So if you asked a question, you'd get an answer. One of the reasons we implemented that is because when we just sort of anecdotally looked through the cancers list, what we found with some of the cancers was they'd asked a question like 4 weeks ago and nobody responded to it. And that was like a little theme that we saw. So then we said, like, we need to make sure that, because you can filter on Skool by, like, you know, have they had any replies or not, and we just make sure that list is as slow as possible all the time. And that made a bit of a difference as well.
Unreplied to posts?
Yes. The bit we can't really figure out, well, is the unreplied to comments. So sometimes they'll ask technical questions in threads, and like my notifications get a little bit out of control. So sometimes they can fall through the cracks. So that's another thing we could
Sam,
focus.
if you do this, please make it optional. Only because I like doing, or I think a lot of people like doing, like monthly or bi-weekly onboarding calls for any new members, and then old members can join, and it really does help them meet each other. And so it's not always necessary. It's not always necessary for it only to be new members.
Yeah. Well, the little video makes sense, right? And then, like, we're introducing rules feature next week because that helps with moderation. So if they could see the rules and click, like, tick, 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 watch the video, but then maybe you could require an introduce yourself post. So you'd have to, like, watch the video, check the rules, and introduce yourself, and then onboarding's complete. You know what I mean?
If I could have anything, I'd have them do intro posts, but I appreciate, like, I guess, like, Reddit's a good comparable, isn't it? Like I think even my used to Reddit, I don't really comment that much, but there's, like, this huge, like, swath of people, because we reach out sometimes, like, hey, we don't hear from you guys, like, is everything okay, a little health check sort of thing. I'm like, no, we love it. We just lurk. We just exist in the shadows and look at things and don't talk to anybody.
That's how I use Reddit. I just lurk.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's the whole internet, by the way. If everyone decided to talk, the internet would break.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah.
You don't want 100% of people commenting and posting, and yeah.
It explodes. Yeah, too much engagement.
So that's why I'm wondering is it even worth requiring an introduce yourself post?
It can be listed there as like these free checkmark things to tell people what to do, but then they can decide whether or not they want to.
Well, we've leaned into the level system, so they almost have to unlock a lot of the stuff. So you did mention time unlocks, but I really like the level system, so we leverage that. So the intro post gets them to now 3 and level 4, actually. So they almost needed to unlock the content.
Yeah, we have a big software unlock at level 4, like X $1,000 worth of software once you reach level 4. And weirdly enough, the intro post boosts you to level 4, so you pretty much unlock it. Like the intro itself, all this will be available, and there's like a reason to get engaged and get those first conversations.
Every school is different in its own way. What would be the same is having the intro video.
The video and the rules.
Right. So everyone can customize it to how they want their school to be. But it would be great because you have the everybody has the leaving video option, and that's really helpful. So just have that in the beginning.
Yeah, so maybe just video rules, and it seems like maybe actions, but they're not required. So like you could say 1, introduce yourself, and you could tick it if you've done it, and 2, join the next onboarding call.
Yeah, and
You know what I
get,
mean?
like a little emoji if you do it, because then it would just tell you, it's like, you've done this part, you've done this part.
It is rare for us to have churners in the first 3 months if they've done an intro post. Like, that would be weird to see. It absolutely makes a difference. So we almost see category 1 churners they come, they get the frozen cryogenesis, they do nothing, they disappear. So we get them introed, get them like engaged. And then category 2 churners, maybe have they gotten the value bit? So that's how we're thinking about it in those kind of frames.
Do people write the intro post when they're on the onboard call, or do they do it themselves?
Not really. I do encourage it. I don't like mandate it, but I highly encourage it to either do it now while someone else is doing it or after. But to be fair, a lot of them have already done it as they come into the onboard, because that's where I get them and I say, hey, join me, I'm an admin, and they do it.
Right. And have you ever locked everything to just try it? You have to show up to the onboard call.
Never tried that now. Because some people, we've got some great resources, so you could just get your value from Jack's automations and the blueprints. Some people love that. I don't like that they do that, but they can get the value. So some people like to just be a lurker. So I haven't mandated it.
Another big thing on churn is that I have someone in the main membership. Her name is Allison, and she's such a great member that she now works with me, and she volunteered to do an experiment where she just DMs anyone who's churning out in the next few days, and just says, is everything okay, or we're gonna miss you. And we accidentally found out that a lot of people didn't know that they were churning, like their card expired, or they did it, something happened, there was some technical glitch or something. Or they may have even said that out of like, I want to come back, but either way, we brought back a lot of people who were churning out. That's why we're at 7.5. Yeah. So sometimes just asking people if everything's cool.
Do that as well. Yeah.
I think they know that they're churning because we send them a notification. It's pretty obvious, but they probably don't want to admit that.
Yeah, that could be psychological, but
because it's just they probably think, oh, she won't see me. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But
then look out the back door, Irish goodbye.
Yeah. But then when they see, they're like, oh my god, they feel so bad instantly. It's like unfollowing someone on social media. You're like, I really want to, but this might cause a lot of issues.
And then you do it, and then they're like, hey, I saw you don't. Oh, I must have accidentally unclicked it. Like.
That's why I don't follow anyone, by the way, like because it's such a weird dynamic. But this onboarding feature, I'm curious about it because you could do the video. That's obvious, the rules, and then maybe you could have some actions like introduce yourself, join the next onboarding call, download the app.
And would it be unlockable?
What do you mean unlockable?
If you hit the actions?
Well, the problem is we could require it, or they can just say they did it. If they say they did it, you know.
I do everything like that for my unlockables. I literally just have a disclaimer that's like, this is what you have to do to unlock this. You can say you did it, and like then you just won't get any value out of the next thing because you have to have this, and I don't care.
And I'll hate you.
Yeah.
I just thought that one.
That's yours, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll hate you.
But it would be interesting to see who's on board and who's not, right?
Yeah. Because being able to see onboard churn versus unonboarded churn, I feel like would be very valuable. But if we make it mandatory, though, to your point, then it's like everybody has to be.
It's quite hard to make it mandatory.
I mean, like video with the like check the list of rules. That feels like you could make everybody watch the.
The intro post is reasonably hard to make mandatory, but we could still do it. The calendar is definitely really hard because how do you know if they added it to the calendar? Yeah. The app is very easy to do because we can tell if they've got the app or not.
Downloading the app is huge. Like Calvin and Doug and a few other people who really nailed retention, they spend a lot of their efforts to try and get people to use Skool.
That makes a ton of sense.
I want to do an analysis of how many people, like what does churn look like based on the percentage of, like it'd be cool for everyone to know what percentage of your group has the app downloaded, right?
And churn, like, cause like the majority of my consumption of Skool is mobile. Me personally.
Really? Damn.
Like I pull it up, so when I do the calls, that's the only time I'm on desktop on Skool, and the rest of the time I'm looking at the 100. I'm just seeing what's going on, seeing what's in the group.
There's also a really cool feature that helps retention or churn. That the video that you record when people are, or the video that you put at the pricing page, I believe.
Yeah, the about page.
Yeah, that feature we did an analysis.
No, the pricing page when they want to churn, when they want to cancel.
Yeah, the cancellation
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. So
People that have that, their churn on average is like 7% lower.
Absolute 7 or like 7%?
I think it's just normal 7, not absolute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we do is we remind them of why they joined, and we also basically reignite that fire in them and to motivate them a bit more, and then say, hey, look, you joined at really cheap price. Next month it's going to go up higher. So.
And I think you can be, the best one I've seen for that, by the way, is there's this group about relationships, right? Like finding relationships. And it's only a 30-second video on the cancel page. And the guy is sitting in like the position on the floor of a shower, and it says like, please don't leave me. And there's sad music, and he's like pretending to cry. It's because it's like you're breaking up, and it's a group about relationships, and it works so well, and there's not even any real words, right? Like, I think sometimes if you can make people smile or like just change their pattern, because they're in this like, oh, I'm going to cancel pattern, but if you just do something where they...
Especially if it has something to do with the group.
Exactly, yeah. But in general, I know that those videos lower churn as a general rule. Yeah.
Everyone have that? Please do that.
It's very hidden feature. I should really make it a bit more obvious.
I was playing up with the with all the features, and I'm like, that's really genius. I have to record a video for that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, if you decrease churn by 7%, you increase LTV by 7%. So if you make 7% more revenue with one thing, feels like worthwhile.
But this onboarding feature, who would want this one? Yeah.
There's nothing mandatory.
What about just the video and the rules, though?
Yeah, I would love that. Just nothing like they have to do an intro post for the hours. That'd be tough.
I think that if we know that the app is a huge, like if we find it, I feel like if people have downloaded the app, they're likely to just stick in general more. But if we know that those 3 things have high correlates, like you check the box, you understand the rules, you watch the 30-second or 2-minute video of onboarding, and then you click here to download the app so you can, take the group with you in your pocket or whatever.
So what should they be limited on until they onboard?
I
could
limit
freeze everything. Yeah, right. You could just freeze everything.
I just don't see a reason if it's going to benefit them. And I've had people complain too, like people say, can't you just unlock it for me? And I say no. And then they say that I'm leaving, and I say, okay. And it's just leave it at that, because they're not going to get what they want out of it.
We scraped all of our charity members, and we saw that the biggest commonality between all of the charity members was that 60% never made a comment or a post. Yeah.
They made a comment or a post. But 40% did. And then if you look at all members in general, if it's a 60-40 split, then it just means that it's representative of the population.
Well, there's a few things we could do. We could like make it so you can't post, you can't comment, you can't DM until you finish onboarding, right? But that might reduce people even commenting. Or we could make it so you can't do anything. It's literally useless until you onboard. That's the extreme version.
I'm saying it more like the automated DM, like more like a plugin, just like a nice thing that is a welcome, rather than
I think I know what I should do. Like, you know how when you create a new group, hey, you get that onboarding wizard or like the thing at the top of the feed?
Yeah, that's...
And you can't dismiss it until you finish it, right? Those, I don't know, like when there's something annoying in the UI and the only way to get rid of it is to finish it, do you always finish it to get rid of it? Yeah. So if it's something like that for users.
Level 2 kind of is though, right? Like that was the intention, is you have to introduce yourself and engage before we let you do more stuff.
True, but it's hard to just communicate that because there's so many places someone can go. There's a welcome post, there's a million other posts, there's a classroom, there's a calendar. Like, and someone lands in there and they don't even know how to use Skool yet, like, right? There's a lot. So if there's just this thing at the top of the feed that's real blatant, that's like complete onboarding, and so it's not mandatory, but it's really, you can't miss
it. If
it.
they complete the steps, like downloading the app, they'll get a point towards them ascending a level.
Well, that's another thing. Like I mean, making it real obvious is one thing, putting it at the top of the feed and not dismissible until they do it. Somehow communicating their status, if they're onboarded or not. But I don't know if that's worth wasting status on, honestly.
Yeah. Could we just increase the character limit in the auto DM? So we could actually like have more.
Well, I think if you get this onboarding feature right, the auto DM isn't, it could be used in different ways. But if everyone's using their pin post as their onboarding, and that's annoying because it's just there for everyone all the time, and eventually you're going to get sick of it and unpin it, and then new people don't get on board anymore. And then if you're sending your auto DM trying to onboard people, that's not the best either. And then if you're like in the auto DM, you're linking people to a pin post that links people to a classroom. I mean, fuck. Like, it should just be like, here's the onboarding, right?
It'll also declutter your classroom because a lot of people have a.
Well, you don't need to do the pin post for onboarding anymore.
And you don't need to start your classroom. So my classroom, one of the things is obsoleted after they do that, right? But it's there forever. It's the first thing they see. So if I had the post and the call there, then my classroom would be a classroom, and it wouldn't have a module that was obsolete.
Yeah.
Even ahead of the onboarding wizard, which I think is cool, if we could just get, when you join a group, you see a video, and it's like, even if you cap it 30 seconds or something, because attention span can be quite short, that in itself, I think, would be like significantly helpful.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then maybe you can just see as an admin who's on board and who's not, but it's not a status that other members can see.
So, right. So that same place where the live with the red dot is blinking, if you haven't been onboarded, you're not going to see our calendar stuff. Instead, you see a static video that we've recorded that says, here's how you get on board. Here's the steps. And they watch that video. It's at the top of the community chat, right? In that area where the live red button would be. They can see the other posts and scroll around and get value, but that video is up there and they know that they have to complete that because we made a thumbnail that says, watch me now.
See, I was sort of thinking you had like a middle page in between it. You sign up, it's almost like welcome, the little video, green button, to the next step. So they get this like intersection.
That's how I see it in my head.
Yeah, then
that's really hard though, because sometimes like someone gets approved in a free group or something and they're not online when they get approved, so then they come back, and so now we're like redirecting people. Like, it's messy. If we make it just at the top of the feed, it's dynamic, because I think also people want to see like they got in, but there's this thing that they need to complete. I think if it's just really blatant, people will do it, and maybe if you gave them some points.
What are we doing games at the minute? When someone joins, and
they just land on start here a module, but it still doesn't really explain like how to use Skool, the basics. Like, here's the calendar, here's the right. Like, we don't tell them to download the app. Like,
what you're saying, where it says now get 3 members, and it kind of reminds you to get 3 members at the top.
Yeah, so I can make it blatant like that. I can even make it yellow. Like, you will not be able to miss it. It'll be, yeah. And you can't get rid of it until you finish it.
Yeah, my vote's for that.
Yeah,
because
I think
it's
that's
not
what we do.
mandatory, but it's like, it's reminding.
And then I think as an admin, you should be able to filter members by onboarded or not, so that you can see new members that aren't onboarded. But then whether we need to give them points or anything, I don't know. Probably not, right?
One of the things I'm thinking about, the onboarding wizard's good for like first time you join the platform, not per group, I guess, but it's more like if I see Skool, and it's kind of like we get biased over because we're on the platform so much, like trying to think about it from fresh eyes. When I join other groups, one of the questions I ask myself is like, where's the first bit I go and I click? And many groups solve that by having it, hey, start here section. So I'm wondering if there's another element competing for the attention of the first time using the group, if that confuses the experience. It's almost like I like the bottleneck of you're just watching this video, and then they go to the next step. And I hear your point about the complication-free groups, but I wonder if we just did it to paid initially, where they just to simplify, to get something out, we can test it. Perhaps they join the pay group, they see it, and then we see if that like changes things.
So you're saying like a blank page that you can't even access the community until you complete the onboarding?
You can add like a skip button, which I think would be probably good for like user experience, where it's like welcome, video, click button, and then underneath that a little green button which is to the community. So like if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. That's on you. You can skip it, but it's so clear what it is. And in that 30 seconds, we can say, hey, we got this, we got this, we got this, and then they're kind of like, at least they won't churn because it's confusing. We can be sure of that. And if they don't want to watch it, they can just simply skip past it.
But why is that better than doing it at the top of the feed?
Because where do they click? Do they click on start here post, or do they go to the calendar?
Well, it'll be above all the posts.
You're thinking, so you almost knock the post
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it's right at the top.
Yeah.
Would no longer exist.
The post would be there, but you would not see them. So every time you look at the feed, it's red, and it would be yellow too.
Yeah.
So like, big. Like you're not missing it.
Yeah, because I was thinking it was going to be a little bit. Do you know where the count the notification? So you're actually going to make it quite like significant.
Oh no, it will be serious. Like have you made a new group and seen the onboarding wizard thing we do?
No.
Okay. It'll be like that.
So satisfying when we finally get to dismiss it.
Exactly. You want to finish it. You want to tick off your things.
Yeah, it's above the highest end post.
Yeah, it's the main thing, and it's real obvious, and you can't get rid of it unless you finish it.
And so would people turn on onboarding, or it would be automatic for everybody? Like for the admin?
I would probably turn it on for everyone as a default feature because when we release the rules feature next week, we're giving every group 3 default rules. And then they can edit them if they want. But that means just out of the box, there's 3 rules that almost everyone would want. And then I'm thinking for the video, maybe we could have one universal video that tells people how to use Skool, because some people might be lazy. They're like, I don't want to make a loom, and so it could just
we should make a cartoon video. Like we can make like an animated, Skool video.
I think it would just be a nice woman's voice.
Yeah.
Showing you like, this is how you access the classroom.
Would it have multi-language support?
Yeah, good. Yeah, right.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Not initially, but that's why you can add your own video, right? Like, so right. you can support Arabic.
If you're lazy, you get English.
If we were going to rank features, I think affiliates is number 1 for us.
Yeah.
Free trials comes out on Monday.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
That'll be an interesting one. If people are getting people to buy, normally I don't know if they would want to do a free trial anyway. It could lower the quality of the group.
Are you gonna make is there a feature connected to that for locking everything?
No. But it's a fixed 7-day free trial, credit card required, and we lock it so you can only have 1 trial per user. So if you do a trial and then cancel and then you go back to the about page and you click start trial, it'll say you've already had a trial, but you can just join as a paid member. So we don't block you from joining, you just can't get a second trial. And then we lock it per card. So only 1 trial per card. So if you think you're sneaky and you make another account, won't let you. It'll say you have to buy it. So it still won't block you, but it will just make you pay immediately.
Thought you were
Try and do it a second time sneakily. You shouldn't even ask. It should just auto charge and put it in.
Then you'll have more. Then you'll have more support tickets.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, that one will be interesting. But this onboarding thing is an easy win, I think. Because I think everyone would see a reduction in churn.
Yeah.
And maybe an increase in the quality of the interactions, which is like, that would make everyone's life a lot better. If posts were higher quality, comments were better, everyone understood how to use the thing, and your churn went down, those are all good. And you don't have to fuck around with pin posts saying welcome, start here. You don't have to have...
It uses up real estate.
Yeah, and your auto DM can be used in better ways. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
So I would prioritize this one, definitely, like, right after... Well, like, right when I get back, actually. Because this one makes a lot of sense. Even for us in the Skool games.
No, yeah, I mean...
Like, we'd probably see an increase in trial conversion rate, a decrease in churn.
Because everyone doesn't know how to use Skool. Like, that's the issue, right? It's like, as soon as someone understands the platform, then you're like, oh, this is fucking great, you know? But it's like that 60 seconds or whatever it is of just like, here's how calendar works, here's how this works, here's, like, just, it's right there. Like...
We've been traveling for a week, and I can feel our churn going up because I haven't been able to do it. Yeah, deep inside.
Taste it in the air.
Do you like that churn metric?
Love it. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Delicious, yeah.
So what were your thoughts on, because I checked out a competitor, my brain started, it felt like my brain was bleeding. It was so confused. I was like, I was so counterintuitive. But one of the sort of feedbacks I hear from people that use Discord and other ones is like the kind of chat threads people have where they can like break out into these rooms and stuff. I know we probably talked about it a few months ago, but like, do you have any like thoughts in the lab about the way people communicate on Skool? Like, where we could have these like breakout chat threads, like kind of like Slack or like Discord or something?
You mean like a group chat?
Yeah, where they can. It's just so easy to get like conversations and stuff. And I like run against the threads.
Yeah, I mean, already the people go to DMs to do like bad stuff, right? Like spam, scams, and things like that. So once you make it group chats, it'll happen there, and that's really hard to crack down on. But then also people are just going to like divide themselves endlessly into smaller and smaller subgroups, and that will take the engagement out of the main feed, right? And so it's like, that'll happen for certain. So it's like, is the upside, like, does it outweigh the downside? And I'm not sure about that.
So what happened to Facebook? Like Messenger came out, and then news feed, like activity went way down.
Yeah. It's to organize, though, to your point in the teams, it would be a really nice feature to just like specific use cases, like Team Diamond, this is your pod. It'd just be for small use cases like that, at least.
Teams are a turncoat. People love teams.
Without that, my churn would probably be like 80%.
Without teams?
Mm-hmm.
But you guys already have decent churn. And if we add a few more things to it, it'll probably come down even more.
Well, when we hit 2%, I don't think we're decent, to be fair, or 7% and 0%.
Yeah, well, he's doing it
-1%.
without group chats too. That's what I mean. It's like, is it necessary?
Well, we have a WhatsApp group you unlock at level 6. That is always super high energy. I know what you mean. It's like the Instagram DMs, right? There's so much exists in the DMs now versus a thread. I guess I'm trying to find more ways to connect people and get better conversations.
There's an audio feature, a new audio feature that sneaking.
Secret.
I killed that feature.
Oh, you killed it?
Yeah.
Never mind.
I thought it was a distraction from like, I would look at Skool and I'd notice my eyes always go to that audio room feature. And a lot of the time it was empty or there was only one person in it. And it made me feel like Skool was dead. But then I would look at how many people were online and there was like thousands. Tons of online now faces. And then I'd look at the feed and there was typing indicators, like people were typing now. There was a latest comment just now. So it was very alive, but I almost ignored everything else because I just looked at that room.
Was it where you could plan it, where you could schedule it, rather than it being just open all the time or not open all the time?
Yeah, that would be a different feature. Yeah. Because if you're going to do that, why not just do the live stream thing? Yeah. And I think it was my fear was it would do what Instagram stories did to posts. They make them irrelevant. You know how like you said that some people just do stories now. They don't do posts anymore. And it's like, is that what we want? Skool to just become like everyone looking at that bubble at the top? So...
Yeah, I'm sure if everybody voted, they would say they want video streaming over audio.
Yeah.
That's
if
what...
they had to choose.
That's what the platform is. Like, these platforms are, you connect, an influencer connects with his audience by being on a live stream. And then people hit the hearts and the thumbs up. And then they're chatting in that thing.
Then it fills that soul where the approval of your father should be.
Yeah, everyone feels approved. And you're like, oh, hey, Sam.
A feature that I actually want to prioritize soon is after we do moderation. So we're going hard on moderation features right now, like, when you report something, you can select the rule that they broke. When you delete something, you can select the rule they broke. And it will send them feedback, as well as a copy of the content you deleted, right? Which is nice, because then you don't feel so bad about deleting stuff, right? And just does it automatically. And then some more things around like reducing DM spam, especially for free groups. And then I think the map feature is a real, like in terms of connecting people, I think map is...
I'm so amped.
Is a really good idea.
They love it.
I'm gonna share a story because I think it might be relevant. Like, I think y'all meeting up with your communities in person is one of the biggest unlocks that, so it's like, as the world goes to AI, like my whole internal theme has been around businesses IRL. And so, like where I'm leaning in terms of like what we're doing with the businesses in the portfolio, and we're seeing like ridiculous results. And I think Ben Francis came out here last week. Do you know who he is? Gymshark? I know the UK guys know who he is. So anyways, we hung out for the day. And something that he found that was really interesting was when he had his first, 2 or 3 years of Gymshark, they just went to all the fitness expos that they could. And later, when they mapped where all their customers were, they had concentration heat maps wherever they had done the in-person experiences. And that was like many years later, far in excess of the amount of, the 100 t-shirts they sold in a day. Like, it wasn't even close to that, right? And so it was just like the word of mouth of how good of an experience those people had just created this big ripple effect. And if Skool is about helping people create community, obviously part of it's online, but part of it's in the real world. And I think, and what Ben was telling me was basically if someone comes to the in-person experience, it's like they're in, right? Like they're locked in. Yeah. And I think, obviously for us, this is why we do these things in person. These aren't 8-hour Zoom calls or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I can tell you what we're thinking about it, because I think it's our job to lead by example about building community. If we're a community company, we should be good at building community and lead by example so that everyone else can copy that in a way. So if we do a map feature, and it would be in Skool Games and Skool Community, everyone who joins is automatically added on the map, so they don't have to manually add themselves.
Is this like tracking by their IP, or do they say they're in Miami?
No, we auto-detect where they are. We can find their latitude and longitude lines. It's pretty scary, actually. So what we actually are doing is adding 20 miles of noise to the coordinates. So we throw it off by 20 miles so that we're not like doxing anyone. We're still debating how many miles is your coordinate off before it's doxing. Some people, it's in between 20 and 40, people think.
I feel like 5, it's like you don't know where, a 5 mile radius in like New York, it's like you
What
don't
if
know
it
where
was just the
somebody is.
city?
The problem is if you look at a map, then you load like 1,000 people on a single, it needs to be like distributed because you're going to visually look at it. We need latitude and longitude lines to put a pin,
We should
right?
get what floor they're on too, that way we can just,
I prefer 3D.
No, this is pretty cool. Like when
Oh, I'm
people
sure.
join, we automatically add them and we can be very precise, but we're throwing it off by a bit. Then you can remove yourself if you want. You don't have to be on the map. You can also change your pin, right? You can put it more precise or less precise, it's up to you. But I think it's important that you auto-opt people in.
And do you want to keep it auto-updated so when everyone's at an event, you can now see that everyone's
It doesn't
there?
auto-update, because otherwise it would be like tracking you around.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to do something on by default, it better not be too intense.
Creepy.
You know? Yeah. And then what I think the natural and then there'll be a tab at the top that says like map. So it's built in. Everyone's on the map. You can click map at the top and you can see where everyone is. And if you click on a pin, it pops open their profile preview thing. You can message them or whatever. But then the natural extension of that, I think, is events. So on the calendar right now, you can type in an address for an IRL event, but that would plot that on the map. So you could look at the map and see events and people. And then what I think we're going to do, and Ted's going to do this for us, because if we look at naturally what's been happening in our community, like the Skool creator community, people like Ted have done meetups. So he held a meetup. I think you've done four meetups.
Did you see Skool Festival? Did you see this
Yeah,
thing?
that was in Germany.
Yeah.
So this guy, Calvin Hollywood, right? You guys heard of him? He's like a Skool fanatic. He just held a festival in Germany called Skool Fest. And there's like 500 people there.
It's big. I mean,
and he paid like 50 grand to host this event.
Wow.
And he was like, all he asked for was permission to use the logo. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You know about Skool Center? Like
Pardon?
Sports Center?
What's that?
Like Sports Center, ESPN is like, oh, who's in the top 10 playing the playoffs? This guy is having Skool Center, and he's like, so Max is leading by 30K right now.
You're saying that already exists?
Yeah, he's on YouTube, right?
Really? Somebody's doing live.
Yeah, it's called Skool Center.
No, but I think what I'm getting at here is we notice people are naturally doing this without us telling them to, and without us paying them, right? And people were flying all over the place. Like, people were flying from Poland to LA to attend a free little, meetup. So that showed me, we should have something called an ambassador program in a way. So we find the people that are already obsessed about Skool, and we can make them an ambassador, and then they can add their own events to the calendar. So now you're kind of decentralizing your community. So you could have a Germany ambassador, an Australia ambassador, and they hold local meetups. So that way the burden's not fully on you.
And so they're allowed to make meetup. But basically, they have the only permission level to make.
Yes, and they probably will get some kind of status too, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We've already had that. Like, we did one in Germany.
Dude,
and
it's happening everywhere.
It's
But
cool. Yeah.
I have a thought on what you said with the Gymshark thing. What's the difference, or what's your opinion on creating? So like Ted and Matt and them did the Belfast thing, right? They brought everybody there.
Sure.
Then there's the inverse, which is what they're doing, which is they're flying. So that what have you done? Germany, LA, Vegas. Yeah. So they're flying to their community.
I think it's just who the ambassador is. I think fundamentally,
So
I think at the end of
one-
the way, you have a heat map, you see where people are, and you have events there. And whether you're the one flying to them or you have somebody there who hosts it, either way, it's like you try to make his community possible. If you only have one, then everyone's like, you have one IRL event, then everyone's going to go there. If you have 5, then they're going to go one that's closest to them, I think.
If you have ambassadors, it makes sense to use them. It's just if you don't, then you've got to go and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? It's interesting comes about Ben, Alex. Like, our theory is 2 benefits. One is the members fly from we shake the hand in person, but I guess there's also an optics thing about it's added that 4th dimension of being in real life. Is your theory like just the visibility of the fact that it is happening in person, like elevates the kind of like as a 3rd dimension to the group, which like makes it just feel.
I think once
slightly
people
different?
show up in person, they're not canceling.
Yeah. Do you think the
I just like, and I
benefits-
think when you're there in person, you can just be like, "Hey, everybody, upgrade to annual," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, when I see AI, when I see your name or your group or something, like I'd seen Mr. Addy or whatever, like number 3 on Discovery, and I'm like, who the fuck's that, right? But last night he was like, oh, I'm number 3 on Discovery, and I was like, wait, you're Mr. Addy? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, oh shit. Like in AI Jack, I remember seeing that, but then I met you. If you think about what you thought something was and everything before you met them, and then what it's like when you see their profile picked online after you've met them, it means so much more, right?
Different experience, yeah.
They're spending more hard cost to fly to the meetup than they do for the entire group you have for multiple years.
Yes.
Like,
it's 5K.
It's crazy.
Right. So the last thing they're going to do is cancel the 50. Like if they're spending $1,000 or $2,000 to fly and do all this,
Well,
like.
There's another version too, which is what people in my group have just started meeting each other on the same date. So I'm going to be in DC. We're going to be in DC, but the same weekend, Atlanta's happening and Dallas is happening. So you don't have to fly everywhere. You can kind of be there in where you are, and give people. What we did is we gave people a little bit of like props, what they could say to each other, and how a lead can lead that group.
Because I'm sure you've seen the post where someone's like, "Hey, anyone else in like Canada?" Like, and they're kind of annoying. But now you just look on a map, you're like, "Oh shit, you're in like Montreal, like want to meet up," so that it can create those natural ones, but then you could have some more official ambassador ones, or you could tour. It just opens up this new dimension of, you want to talk about like connecting people? I swear that's one of the strongest.
I'm fucking amped for
Yeah,
this.
the brand will grow really
this year, for sure.
The idea that you can go on a map, and so like, let's say somebody does a cool value post, whatever, which I hate the term and whatever, but like whatever, they put something good up, and a couple people respond or whatever, and somebody says like, "Hey, that was awesome," gives you a really nice comment to whatever you sent, right? And you click on their profile, you're not going to remember that 2 months ago when in their intro post they said, "Hey, I'm out of Dallas," because you weren't there, you didn't give a shit or whatever, right? But now when you click their profile, you can find out, and you're like, "Oh shit, they're not far from me." Or even if you know they are far from you, it gives you something to say, "Dude, how's Dublin?" Right? So it gives you that immediate thing, like, you know what, my sister lives out there. I was going to go visit her, but if you're in town, I'd love to swim. You know what I mean? Like, I think it just creates this natural, I'm fucking amped for it. I'm like,
it really is an invisible dimension of the internet. Like, no one does geography. I think because if you think about it, all the big companies are investing in metaverse and AI. It's the opposite of meeting in person, right?
Oh, that's 2024.
The map feature, we've almost finished it. So it's like, I killed the audio rooms because I was like, fuck it, I just want to ship the map one. Like, this thing I'm not so sure about. But
so with the events like you're talking about, I'm thinking, because I've teased it, I might just wait for the map feature. Because I'd be like,
you can also make it part of the annual. Like, there's a lot of, there's just whatever. There's just cool shit. I'm pumped.
Yeah, but I think that, to your point, like we started with group chats, for example, I think this thing's a lot more powerful.
We set up a group chat for every meetup, actually, to be fair, a WhatsApp group. But we just had an 11-hour flight, and we were like, are these worth it? I think it's answered the question that, yeah, these are totally worth it. We do it every month. We were debating, is this really attacking our churn? But after this feedback, yeah, we'll keep it up.
Once you find some ambassadors, I honestly think that's even more powerful. Because this guy, Calvin Hollywood in Germany, he's like the ultimate spokesperson for Skool in Germany. And they get more, it's more of a community vibe if someone that isn't the owner is organizing things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
That's more of a community. Otherwise, you're kind of a touring celebrity, right?
Yeah. Because, Jack, we also talk about whenever it moves to IRL, it makes it like look to be real.
Yes.
It's, Skool's like this digital thing. It's like the profile pictures. And you meet in real life, you see like the back of somebody's head. You're like, whoa, crazy. And then all that content, like think about all the guys.
Oh, that's very specific. That's never happened to me.
Think about your leaderboard, like, the main characters of your community.
Yeah.
Whenever people see the main characters interact with each other, it does something to them. Or like, oh my goodness, this is like real people, real place, real to stuff.
Yeah, and that's actually, they literally do use those words. Like, it's real. They really love it. They absolutely love it. That sound will definitely reduce churn as well. Like, if we could just have networks of people in every country building those connections, relationships, like we do in the threads, like, they're just not going to lead because I know Tom, I know Ben, I know Steve, I know Alex, and we're all part of the group. That's the only thing they have in common. Well, probably more than that, but that just helps them stick. So I think that will churn does.
And when affiliates rules out, they have an incentive to recruit people in their local area.
Yeah. It's getting this kind of shape, isn't it? Kind of like.
I always ask for like a local VIP for recommendations, but if I'm honest, I might just leverage them more as the ambassador and almost like give them the event and just to guide them to organize it opposed to us to do it constantly. So I think we should lean on, our super users more.
Yeah, so that one's coming. I think that one's going to be quite interesting. We're going to use it as a strategy for us.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense for a community platform to be good at building community.
Yeah, you think, right? I'm so stoked for this one personally. I think it's going to be fucking huge. I'm amped for it.
What numbers would you set as like goals or milestones? And like 10x Grant Cardone, they had like a certain thing they hit, right? What would you say could be the trajectory of, how would you measure success of a live event?
For what? For what type of community? For any community?
Yeah, well, whatever Skool is hosting, I guess. Well,
we're not really gonna. Schools isn't gonna really host them. It's more like we will. So I'm gonna make Ted like full time. He's gonna be in charge of the ambassadors, and then there'll be ambassadors like Calvin Hollywood, and he's in Germany. Evelyn could be.
Oh yeah.
Where is she again?
Austria.
She's also somewhere else.
Austria, right? Yeah, Austria.
Max is in Sweden, right? And like,
but it eventually would have to mature to, hey, this one conference, this Skool con.
Oh yeah, we'll do a Skool con,
yeah,
which will be only once a year, probably in LA, and it'll be like paid, and a one big conference where the whole world comes together for one thing. But this is a more distributed, always happening thing that we wouldn't have to pay to attend. And it's like more community building, because at a big conference, you're just sitting looking up. You're not really like interacting with everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, different communities could have booths. It could be like a walk around thing.
What was that?
Booths.
Communities could have booths at the conference. Yeah.
We do all sorts of things. We have funnel cakes. We have the churros. Yeah, we do lots of things. No, but anyways, I'm just stoked for that. And I think probably like 4 school days ago, we did a huge kind of deep dive on events, and I just think that not obviously we get all the benefits of the churn stuff, but the amount of media that you're able to capture too, in terms of testimonials, in person, like ads for those of you who want to start running ads, like doing stuff in person makes it so much better. Yeah, it's just better. I think you like those can get also incorporated if you think about your about page video. If people are like clicking and they see that like, oh, people are meeting from this community in the real world, I think that just makes it like it makes it legit, right? Like, oh, this is a real thing. But on top of that, like, well, I kind of want that. Like a whole group of people who want to talk about anime and fitness, like, fuck yeah, I'm interested. I'm obviously very pumped for it. Okay, so in terms of churn stuff, these were all these are some of the golden BBs that you guys did. And hopefully the map feature and the onboard, the easy onboard.
The onboard's probably going to do the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
That was quite useful for me in terms of the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. All right, so I think we started here, but we ended up here, which worked out great.
I don't think it really matters what we
Oh, no,
do
it doesn't
anymore.
matter at all.
I just let it wander.
Yeah.
I was so strict in the first ones. I was like, hey, we're going off topic, but it just kind of let it go sometimes, and it.
Yeah, Bezos says he likes crisp memos and messy meetings. So that's his like perfect setup. Interesting.